Alright, Firewire Seaside by Rob Machado in Helium Construction. This is an intermediate surfer's review. I've always loved watching people surf fishes, and I've always loved how they've looked when people surf them. So I've always wanted to surf a fish, but I initially was thinking I'll get something super flat, super wide, loads of volume, so I can catch small waves. And I had a board like that. I didn't really like it because it felt quite difficult to tip it over on rail. And it didn't feel like it had a lot of hold, it felt really skatey. So, obviously, watching a lot of Rob Machado, because he's the GOAT, I remember thinking when I was on this twin fin fish that I had recently, damn, it'd be cool if this was a quad. I've seen the Seaside is a quad, so I thought maybe that's the fish for me. It's still very wide, and it'll still go in small waves, but it's a quad, so it'll have more hold. It won't feel quite as skatey as my old one did. So that was the idea. And then I saw one come up near me for like not much money, so I went and got it. And this was when I had a broken wrist, so I couldn't really surf it, but I picked it up thinking, oh yeah, when I'm better I'll start surfing this. And it was 31, 32 litres. So I had a go on that in the pool, and it felt a bit small for what I wanted it for. It felt really, really good in good waves, but in not so good waves, which is kind of what I wanted it for, it felt too small.
Wave on the Seaside. It's fucking sick. I love how it feels.
A follower of this channel, Jim, reached out to me and he said, I've got a 5.8, would you want to swap? That's how I got this one. So this is a 5.8 from Jim. It works a whole lot better in the smaller waves that I wanted it to. Definitely feels like it's bigger, like for sure. So yeah, this is a review on the 5.8. It's 5.8 by 21 15/16 by 2 9/16, 35.4 litres. My short board is about 35 litres as well. So that's the story with this board for me. I was just watching Rob and I was like, holy shit, that board looks amazing. And it's a quad, so maybe it'll have more hold than my twin fish that I was riding at the time. So let's go over the shape. So first up, the outline. It's a pretty standard fishy outline, I would say. Wide point forward, very wide outline. For a fish, it's got a bit of a pulled in tail and a bit of a shallow swallow tail, for like, if you compare it to like a standard fish. To me, these rails feel quite full. Well, not full, but they feel quite generous in the top sort of 2/3 of the board, and then you get back past the fin. Well, you get to about, before the front fin it starts to get a lot sharper, and then past the fins it gets really sharp. And I think because of the helium construction, they can build these rails that are so sharp. It's kind of crazy how sharp these rails are. In terms of the rocker, you can see it's very flat. Slight rocker through the middle. There's a bit of rocker through the nose, just enough to keep you out of trouble. Bottom contours. The bottom contours in this board are insane. It's got, whoa, crazy big single into crazy double. The single probably is all the way through to the probably back third, and then it's just that crazy double with the quads. So the fins in this board are sort of interesting. It's not a normal quad. It's basically a split keel. So basically what that means is Rob's taken a keel fin, which would probably be like out here. Like the outline would kind of go like this. And he's taken this little bit out of there and put it here. The idea being you get more hold because you've got fin further back, but you still get the speed of the twin. So you get the speed of the twin, but it's not as loose. It's a bit more grippy and nice with some hold. So all this combined, what does it feel like? It feels ridiculously fast. You pop up, you do your first bottom turn, and you zip to the top of the wave before you even... Like when I first started riding this board, I would be getting to the top of the wave and not even like have thought about a top turn yet, because I didn't expect it to happen that quickly. Like, it's a very fast board. It's so fun. And it's partly because of this quad and the bottom contours. It's just crazy drive, but it's also because of the super wide outline. So you've got shitloads of planing area as soon as you pop up. A little bit of front foot pressure and you're just off. Like, down the line, super fast, so much speed. It also, because it's so short obviously, it's a 5.8, it feels like it pivots really, really easily. And it's would also probably because of this pulled in tail. So super fast, super pivoty. It's also that light helium construction, so it feels very whippy, I guess. And it does feel, even though it's got the quad, it does feel a little bit skatey. Like, it doesn't really want to like really set a rail super hard. It kind of just wants to sort of sit here and skate around. Surf's a bit flatter, I would say, than my other shortboard. Is this board easy to surf? I would say it doesn't paddle well, but I don't think any fish does because they're all wide and short. But it does catch waves pretty well if you're in the right spot because of all the planing area. Once you get going, it gets planing pretty quickly. And it surfs very easily. I think it's very intuitive how it surfs because you've got sort of these quad fins where if you've got your foot at the front of the pad, you're still pretty much over that front fin, so you've still got pretty good control, I would say. I think the quad set just means you've got a really big sweet spot for your back foot. Drive from here and then shift it back and pivot from here. I mean, that's what you do with all surfboards, I guess, but it does feel more intuitive, I guess, than other boards I've ridden. This is the first surfboard I've tried to do a snap on, a frontside snap. So that was pretty cool. Like, I was on a wave at Urban Surf, and it just felt so cruisy and easy that I was just like, I'll just throw the tail, see what happens. Super intuitive to surf. So, unfortunately, my dream of a shortboard that goes in small mushy waves is still yet to be fulfilled. It definitely goes in small punchy waves, but small mushy waves, I think you just need a longboard. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any getting away from it. Length and planing area, you can't hide from that, so.
It's messy and it's kind of small, but we're having a crack.
So yeah, there's no hiding. It's like waist high, belly high, chest high, sort of punchy waves. Waist high would be like the bottom range of where you're gonna feel like you're actually able to pick up speed and do things. I would say waist high, punchy, steep, hockey waves. And then you can surf it like. I mean, you've seen it. Rob's taken this thing out at Chopes and gotten tubed, so you can surf it as big as you want, but I would say up to a certain size, like maybe a little bit overhead. If the wave's cuppy, you're not going to want to grab this because it's going to be so fast, it's going to be so hard to stay in the pocket. There's definitely better options as soon as you get sort of overhead. If you're in a hollow wave, if you're in a chubby fat wave, you could definitely have. I would love to try surfing this board in overhead fat waves. I think it would be loads of fun. So I don't know. I guess the wave range is sort of like waist high punchy to well overhead chubby for me, at least. I don't know. Haven't really pushed it in super large conditions because again, it does kind of suck to paddle. So would I recommend this board? It's a good question. I think this board has got two sort of use cases in my head. It's like, if you've never ridden a short board before, and you've only ridden like mals and mid-lengths, and you want to ride a short board, something like this is a really good idea as a first short board, because if you go straight to a normal short board and you get like a 6.0 whatever short board, you're going to struggle to ride that in anything that's not really steep and critical. It's not going to have a lot of speed, but with like a pretty, if you got one of the biggest sizes of the Seaside, you could ride that in pretty small waves and it would still be loads of fun. Like if you got a, Jesus, the 6.1 has got 46 litres. So you can get a 6.1 version of this, which has 46 litres, and you'll be able to ride that in very small waves. And that'd probably be one of the easiest ways to get into shorter boards if you're a beginner or a low intermediate who's never ridden shortboards before. So that's definitely one. Because of the quad, it's going to feel like it's got loads of hold, it's going to be very easy to surf, and because of the rails, you're going to have hold even though it's so wide. And it's going to be, yeah, it's a great board for that, I would say. And then the other sort of use case, or the other recommendation, is if someone was sort of my level of surfing or above, I would say, intermediate to advanced, and you wanted a board that was going to work in, like if you're used to surfing overhead surf all the time and you wanted a board for when it's like shoulder high and your short board's like struggling a little bit, it'd be great for that too. And you'd probably be looking at a 5.5 or a 5.6, depending on how good you are, I guess, and depending on how big waves you want it for, or how small waves you want it for. But yeah, so I would recommend it. If someone came up to me and said either of those two scenarios, I'd definitely recommend it. Yeah, it could even be a daily driver if you're an intermediate surfer. So in conclusion, the Seaside is providing a very nice fish option in that it's got the quad fin set and the super sharp rails, so it's got hold, but it's also very fast. Like most fishes out there are going to be very fast, but they're going to feel a bit loose and they're going to feel a bit squirrely, especially if you're not a super good surfer, I guess. If you're an intermediate and you want to ride fish and you find normal twins kind of a bit weird to surf, try a quad fish, or try a Seaside, because what you'll probably find is it'll be a lot easier to surf. And if you're advanced, you might find that the control that the quad gives you starts to get a bit boring. So, you know, there's two sides to it gives you so much control, these quad fins, honestly, compared to a normal keel fin, I think. So, yeah, it provides an option for people who want to ride a fish with a little bit of a more vertical approach than a typical fish and a bit more of a user-friendly feel. Yeah, so I'll continue to surf it, and I'm looking for opportunities where there's a long, fast wave that's maybe shoulder high. That is like my dream for this board right now. Just to race down the line on a shoulder high wave, because I think that'd be unreal. I'll keep using it in the pool as well, because I think a board like this goes so good in the pool, because the pool at Urban Surf, the wave is very weak. Like, it doesn't give you a lot, but if you've got a board that is really good at generating speed, then it doesn't matter that it doesn't give you a lot, you still get shitloads of speed from that wave. So this is my favourite board to surf right now, just with how playful it is. Yeah, there it is. There's my review of the Firewire Seaside by Rob Machado. Thanks for watching.